Hi, this is Sheila with Conscious Conversation Central, and today is Wednesday, November the 20th, 2019. And back again with my gal pal posse, Lisa Flamino Rush and BZ Rieger. Welcome, ladies. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday to you.
So I got to choose our topic tonight, and I chose meet everything and everyone where they are. I like this one. It was, I don't know, I just felt very drawn to this one. So what did you have in mind, BZ? I think I know already, but this was one that you brought for us to consider.
Well,
So
there's lots of angles to it, and they're all opportunities or seed points for more and more expansion as you either look at the angle, meet the angle, play with it, sort of thing. So, for example, one way to start by looking at it is saying, well, if you have an animal and it's getting older, and instead of meeting it where it is, that, it used to do this or that or the other thing, and it doesn't now. So you could keep harping that it used to do this or the other thing, or you could love it right where it is right this moment, which releases a lot of attachment, releases a lot of frustration or whatever, whether you may not be intending to do that at all. But the being, in this case an animal, can feel it.
Yeah.
And so there's more stress there in not living up or wanting to do more, to play in the more older way of doing the relationship, but it's just very difficult for the being's physical health or whatever to do that. So that one example. Another example often is, well, I wish they would just wake up. Or as Sheila used to say, if they only knew what I knew, right?
Right.
And actually both of those things are exactly the same. They are where they are, right? So those are kind of points that you could play with in different ways. Another one is where there might, and you guys are going to have an in-depth conversation on this angle tomorrow, but where something can be going on, and if one takes the meet everyone where they are, and where they are is in the gutter, or where they are is they're in around, they got their boxing mitts on, they got their shoes, fast feet, and they're ready to rope dope. Okay, so this is a multi-dimensional energetic setting that this title and conversation is set in, not a linear one.
Right.
So in that particular angle, it doesn't mean go put your boxing gloves and things on, or take your boxing gloves off completely and just go bare knuckle. But
yeah.
So that, and then a situation or the everything could be a system, a structure, a situation, a component of something, a job. It could be whatever it is, right? And I think it's not the right word, a simple or maybe a good broad step tool. I'm not quite sure maybe until I explain a little, that will cover everyone, every kind of angle that we're talking about. And there's a myriad of them, right? But just that would certainly cover all the ones we've laid out just now, and then the work for all of them. And that is the desire, if you're thinking about, well, meet everyone and everything where they are. And that can be like a shorthand for you of holding so and maybe it is predicated upon wanting to be more conscious. Maybe it's predicated upon, because maybe it doesn't matter. If you don't want to be, then everything is what it is, or you can get into a funk or a fight or whatever, right? But so I'm just going to take that as a given, but I'll point it out now since I've talked about it, that you're coming from a multidimensional standpoint. You're coming from a higher consciousness level. You're coming from a wider aperture. You're coming from having intentionally, consciously worked to expand your energy field and to expand your frequency, vibration, and the aperture with which you do, because it's delicious, because you're actually now seeing how delicious it is and how magical things arise and how solutions just come out of the blue, and all myriad of things. It's just cosmically delicious. So you're in that, you're playing with that, you're rolling with that, and you're thinking, yeah, this is cool. And then, but I got to go to work, or I got this, relative, or I got this situation, or whatever it is. And maybe it's been painful because of the shearing force. Maybe it's been frustrating. Maybe it's been emotionally draining or discouraging or disheartening because, the energy where you are and what you're doing and the leaps and bounds and cosmically delicious strata that's off the charts that you're playing in for you in all range of things, the difficult things, chaotic things, the fun things, the magic, all of that, right, is over here. And then there are these other everyone's and everythings, right, where there's a stressor on this for you because it's like pulling you out of or moving you down or constricting, or in a thing where it's, and it may only be for a nanosecond, but I've had real intense wrestles with this myself, where momentarily snapping you back to the being that you were at, the consciousness level that you were at, the energetic frequency that you were a long time ago, which is vastly different than where you are now. And this everyone or everything can disappear because you met it, you did whatever you did, and you're there now, and now you're like ick and you're looking at you going ick. So the one tip I want to say that works for all those things is to be fierce about your intention and your commitment to keep in integrity with yourself and where you're choosing to shift and change your energy and your frequency and your consciousness and your the aperture widening and all that kind of stuff. And remember that this same kind of thing goes for you. Meet everyone and everything where they are. So if you're in that snapped moment, like I'm talking about, that happened to me, and we can go into that a little bit more if that's helpful for people, when you're over there, you apply this same title and energetic to the being that is you over here. Because you'll see, as you'll see with all the other things, how cosmically delicious it is, and it changes everything. And when you do that, it lasts very short amount of time, number one. Number two, the expansion is huge, and you soar to a whole new place, and you are incredibly grateful, fiercely grateful for the ick at yourself, right? Because that was the catalyst. Because now I got a bigger screen. Now you're over here. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, the expansion has done nothing but just expand more. No, it makes perfect sense, actually. And so God, there's so much in that. First of all, one of the best reasons not to get angry at oneself, if that snapping back to, you know, something that you used to be, especially if it facilitates expansion and growth, why in the world? Because that's something for me. That's why I had to say that, because that'd be the first thing. Oh my God, look what I've done. I've stepped backwards, you know, and start beating myself up. And that's not helpful at all. And really actually, would feel to me like it would, like, it somehow not mitigate, but certainly the celebration of the expansion that could be had would be a lot less, because that's certainly not,
you won't get to the same
level. Right, the same level. And I see that now very clearly, because I've done that a lot. But I also saw something else in there too, in what you just said in regards to, you know, holding and being fiercely. We were just speaking on that with Lisa about holding one's frequential. See, I had a lot of trouble with that whole. We talked about that too off camera a little bit with me. If you only knew what I knew, you would, you know, do this, that, or the other, and come join us over here in where it's magical at. And I didn't realize that was just more programming and conditioning within me, trying to get everybody to come on over here, you know, and think like I do. And I gotta, this really brings up something that because I've paid attention to Magenta Pixie's pieces that she's done now, analyzing her the channeling for the 1111 portal, and it's just right there as far as that's concerned. You know, for me, everybody, and we've talked about that, everybody gets to create their own reality. We are doing that. We absolutely are, and we have the right to do that. And this meeting everyone and everything where they are means they get to do that, and we get to let them. We need to let them.
Well, that's what we signed up to do.
Yeah.
That was, when people talk about their mission, you know, we said to Source, we got this, I'm all over it. That meant each individual is all over whatever they're doing and how they're doing it, and they're the expert for them, so they're doing it right, because they're bringing back the telemetry and saying, hey, this is expert Beezy for Beezy saying what, you know, we played with. This was a humdinger, and boy, it was an ick, and, you know, but Shazam, I went over here when I was done, and, you know, it wasn't pretty, but boy, was it gorgeous, right?
Right.
But I couldn't follow someone else's something in this particular, if I, you know, did a setup like this, because it wouldn't fit for me.
Well, what I had to come to for another thing was I had to see, and I had to apparently show myself enough times until I finally, you know, actually had that alchemical epiphany, that requiring everyone to think and feel the same way is just more programming and conditioning.
Yeah, it's just somebody new doing it.
Yeah. So I don't know, getting to that, I don't know, the at the crux of meeting everything and everyone where they are, there's a whole lot of unbinding and unwinding in that, especially when I figured out that the only reason that I wasn't happy that everybody wasn't thinking the same way as me is because, you know, I still had this thing where I was requiring everybody, like, you know, it can only be this way. That was before I really truly grokked and had that alchemical epiphany that, oh, wait a minute, we're all creating our own realities. And that for me is absolute proof of that too, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and so how you meet everyone and everything where they are, because someone just said, well, wait a minute, it seems like you're push me pull you was the word came to mind when you're juxtaposition when you're doing that, because if you're meeting everyone and everything where they are, and you're meeting them there, but you're not going there.
There you go.
So
I like that.
Remember that's why I talk a lot about meet someone, come into connection, come into coherence, come into
I
being
see you.
subject to one another. Yeah. It doesn't mean, if you've got mud all over you, that I'm going to jump in the mud pit with you.
Right.
Right.
I'm really grateful that Lisa said it in the way she did just now in regards to I see you, because I've kind of grokked what you've meant, BZ, by being subject to one another. But, the word subject, and I get it, like I said before, the English language really sucks when it comes to trying to, really grok each other, because BZ speaks BZ English and I speak Sheila English and Lisa speaks Lisa English. And that's just the way it is. And we all got to get over that too, because it's the exact same thing. We all create our own realities. And my English is really informed by everything I've experienced.
Right.
But the way Lisa just said it is, I see you. I see you is the same to me as because subject, when I think of subject, it's almost like an acquiescing, and I know that that's not what you meant.
No, if you're an artist and you're doing a painting, and someone say, well, what's the subject? Well,
No,
I'm
I
doing
get
this
that.
person on a bike. Well, then that's important. You're meeting it, you're seeing it, you're being one with it and coming into coherence with it so that you can paint it and paint it in your connection, because it's all coming from you.
Right.
So
That's why I said I finally grokked yours
around, right? Having that's the beauty of it. That's the proofing that everybody's on task with their mission from source, because every single bicycle looks different.
Yeah.
Unless you're in an indoctrinated school system or art class or something like that, and they say no, you gotta. The other thing too that Lisa said, I see you, right? Which is beautiful, because it if you really feel into that and connect with that and are subject to that energetic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see you. And I was going to say, love is that which can let you meet everyone and everything where they are. You don't have to go there, up, down, sideways, on your head, whatever it is, right? That you're going to, I see you. I love you. I connect with you. And I don't need to change a freaking thing about you.
Right.
You are. And I don't need to be subjugated, which is different than being subjugated.
Right.
Right? For things, because I know who I am. And I can work through, pay Caesar what is due Caesar. And
Well, see, that's you hit on something really important there for me. I know who I am. And I was walking around on the planet for a very long time thinking I knew who I was, when in fact I did not. And that's a very and I'm still not all that clear, by the way. I'm figuring out who I am as I go. I mean, you would think I'm 58, I would have this in the bag by now.
Well, you're eternal.
I get that. I'm speaking purely from that 3D level, okay?
Right.
But I mean, so just coming to come to any kind of semblance of that for oneself, you know, and realizing, well, wait a minute, I don't even know who I am all the way through yet. At least I don't, and I'm not saying everybody don't. I'm just saying me. But now coming to that, it makes it a whole hell of a lot easier for me to for everybody to figure out who they are too, you know. And I don't and take your time about it, enjoy it as you go, kind of thing, you know. You don't have to prove anything to me, you don't have to agree anything with me, but this is a first for me. It's never been that way heretofore. You know, so, but it's really delicious once you really once I really grokked that.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it a lot easier for me to do me, regardless of how you're doing you.
Right.
I can love you just as well. And I like the way you put that about meeting doesn't mean you go there.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
And the same thing, you know, when I was talking about there was some stuff going on with me, and I said something off camera, and Keegan started to bark at me. But you know, I stopped what I was doing, and I thought, God, I really don't like you. I mean, at all. Like, go away. Serious heck, you know. And it was a moment, a snapshot beyond I don't like what you just thought or did, or how you reacted to that, or how you're holding this, or how you're not being fierce for you, or okay, so it was everything that I just enumerated and a whole bunch more. I mean, it was a biggie. And it would come and then go away, and then it would come and then it would go away. And so, but again, it's so I met both of me's in that instance,
Mm-hmm.
where I was. So the me not liking me, I met. The ick me, I met. Right? And then that, which is me, of I know who I am, and the fierceness of. So it was a whole multidimensional party with some interesting guests, right? And being able to have this tool, being able to not be attached to and not want anything from any of those species.
Yeah, you hit on something else that was very important in there for me too, and that's the subject of attachment. And I didn't, for the longest time, I didn't really understand what everybody said when, well, you have an attachment there. But I get it now. If a person, you know, like I said, when I first started waking up to, let's say, the corruption on the planet or whatever I thought of was the right way to go about whatever, it doesn't even matter, pick a subject. When I thought I had it and, well, you're just dumb because you don't know what I know or whatever, right? There, it was an attachment there. I was attached to either being right, or I was attached to you getting a thing. There's a whole myriad of reasons why I might be attached to that. You know, thinking I was lonesome, that because I'm the only one that gets it, nobody else does, and so I'm considered the crazy woman up the street, or whatever. Pick a thing, right? But there's a whole lot, and I didn't see that for the longest time. So it's anytime I now when I'm engaging with something, I'm trying to be very conscious in that if for some reason, especially after what happened yesterday, if for some reason it throws me out of what I desire, where my highest excitement is, I want to find out, oh, wait a minute, is there attachment to that? What am I not seeing that prompts me to feel this way? because I'm not moving. Something's off here, and this other person or whatever the situation is, like you've said before, BZ, really just brought it up for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because of them. There's something within me, and I've got an attachment, or there's something here. What is it?
Well, and you know, something that you're saying here, I think I really want to mark kind of like two aspects of this. So if you think of something, I don't have anything pokey. Well, this is pretty, but it's pokey. So pine cone can be kind of pokey, like if you know. So something pokey and annoying, and you can notice the attachment, but look at it and go, wow, that is the most gorgeous gift. This is abundance. This is deliciousness. This is a bridge that will help me go where I want to go and see what I want to see and do what I want to do and all that kind of. This is like, and it's pokey. Remember, this is very pokey and unsettling and upsetting, and you know, or for me in that one thing, this is BZ ick, serious. I mean, gooey, icky, drippy, disgusting, get out of my face, ick, right?
Don't sugarcoat it, BZ.
Yeah. I mean, fiercely ick, right? So you go and you go, wow, you showed up, you came. There's no attachment, you still meet it, you still play with it, right? And let it be, in this case, this is ick, BZ, right? You let it be whatever it is. And you be what you know you are, right? Which I did, right? But ahead of time, in honoring the gift, in not being fooled, in not taking the bait or biting the hook or allowing, you know, the shielding on the program to come back in and hook you, right? So by honoring as it's coming, I mean, you can be teeth gnashingly angry or sobbing mad or, you know, thinking that you righteously cannot believe whatever it is, right? So, I mean, it could be all off the charts, super huge emotions and reactions and all things. Great. I'm not saying don't have them. I'm just saying in the moment, me, right? We're in this case, it was more than two. Okay, so apparently I don't play just individually. I, you know, so meet that and be fierce in the joy and the love and the appreciation and the gratitude, amazing gratitude for this pokey thing getting all up in your face. I'm glad you're here, and then you can do whatever you're going to do, and you go to the thing, you know, again, still meeting, you know, not going down or whatever, and the other part, we didn't do that, right? And then you celebrate, and that's how it actually totally unwinds and unbinds whatever that's there, because in this Pokemon, this is a distortion.
Yes. Now, let me ask you something about that distortion, because for me, what I feel when I didn't always see a distortion for the gift it was, right? And I know that there's, I'm sure, loads of folks who still don't get that. What do you mean by that? For me now, I see that if there's a distortion, it is a gift. It's a gift of me. I'm trying to show myself something. On some level of me, there's something that I want me to see, or that distortion wouldn't be there.
Well, and sometimes the seeing can be as simple as acknowledging it, realizing that, oh, this was something that happened a long time ago, that somebody did something to me, right? That's how I would have phrased it as, or you know, so a bird got stuck, and it's been a teeny, I mean, you know, even under quantum magnifying magnascope, you couldn't see it, right? But it was there, and it was festering, and so it got pokey. And so what it is just because everything is inputting into us, and all of those parts that are us coming, you had mentioned Sophia talking about seeing yourselves, and I've had it happen to me numerous
Right.
times, and some are good and happy, and some are, pokey. And when that comes, if you fight with it or you go down to it and you're in that energy, because it's all energy frequency, right? It has a vibe to it, which means it has a color to it. It has stories to it. It has information to it. And when it's constrictive, it is a distortion on you, for you, you being all of you and your energy signature, right? And the truth of who you are, which is source. Because source doesn't have constriction, because it's everything and no thing in infinity simultaneously. So that's what the distortion is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say it's a bad thing, or or maybe you think, well, it's a good thing because you're rich or whatever. It's a distortion. And that's why it's a gift, because the distortion, when it comes and you meet it where it is, so you're meeting you where you are, and the distortion, in which case that just happened to be me, the same thing in both sides. You could give it a different name, give it a circumstance, give it a situation, it doesn't matter. But this is an example, and maybe because I'm not the only one who has these things come up, it's a helpful one, because it seems so really Cohen to deal with, because you're meeting you, two parts of you, in quotes, right, where you are, and loving both, and being fierce about that, and having this cosmically delicious thing unwind and unbind and unfold from it, so that you're zooming to expansion because of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the name of the game. That's what I feel, the loving all of the parts of us into wholeness. There's nothing suppression and pushing it away is what's, that's all about the separation.
It gets pokier when you do that.
Yep.
It comes back with javelins.
Well, all of us are pretty pretty powerful, and B, I'll bet money, pretty persistent with ourselves. So if I don't get it the first time, I think I've said that before. I got a little saying. I get the tap on the shoulder, and if I don't pay attention, then there'll be a little love smack. And before long, if I don't pay attention, there's a 2x4 coming up right behind it, or flat out in the backyard on my face. that has happened. And my phone agrees.
Yeah, like a cold, or the car is broken, or your last job, or
Yes, any and all of those sorts of things. Yes, because there's
and it's honor again. It's nothing's being done to you. It's, well, this is an interesting analogy, or metaphor, but when I had my coaching business, and it was small business, and I guess spiritual coaching, if you want to give it monikers, those are the two things that, and so I stood for my clients. They voiced what they wanted. They voiced why they were coming, what it was they got, and we got so that I could get them to voice, even if they didn't remember it shortly after they voiced it, that the energetic was right. They were, what they wanted to do, what they wanted to accomplish, what they wanted to shift to. And I stood for them. So they said, you know, this is how I want to be, this is what I want to do, right? So I'm standing for them for that, fiercely
Okay.
standing for them for that. So
Right.
when they're now doing something that is against that, I say, okay, well, great. So I just want to clarify, because I'm standing for you. I'm absolutely in your corner. You know, would say it different ways. But I'm seeing you do. I'm hearing you do. I'm watching you come up with different things you're taking. Want to take all these actions or saying these things, and that's opposite to this. So I'm just checking in. Have you switched what it is that you want to accomplish, or what you wish to have, or hold, or shift, or change? Because I stand for you. And if that's the case, that's great. I just want to make sure that I'm standing for you. And if you've shifted, you know, your the prize to you is different, and now you have your own it, then I'll follow right along and I'll stand for that. So I have met them where they are. There has been fierce love and connection and subject to one another where they are. I have not gone in any way, shape, or form for where I am. I'm still standing for the first one that they told me they were. I haven't made them wrong. I haven't said you can't do that. I haven't said this, whatever. I'm just showing them the two pictures that they've painted for me using their words. And they go, oh, yeah, no. But they never had someone to do that for them before, because they'd either argue with them, or they'd say, well, you want this, or you can't do this, or that's not right, or you got to be realistic, or, you know, oh, but you don't understand, or, you know, blah, 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 blah. I am not at all attached to this in any way, shape, or form for them. Not at all. But I stand for them. So if they've changed, if they changed what it is they want, that's cool with me. You know?
Well, that's why I said I really didn't grok the whole attachment thing for the longest time. Oh, I used to hear it all the time. Oh, well, you got an attachment there. But I didn't, you know, I guess I either wasn't ready to see it, didn't want to see it, or I just didn't quite grok it in the way that I get it now.
Well, and it's hard because when we're attached to it, we're attached to it. So we don't want to get it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, no, I'm not attached to that one. No, it kind of feels like you might be. You're kind of mad because you ain't getting it. So I'm thinking that's an attachment somehow.
Right. So remember here, you know, Pokey Beezy was going off on this thing, and I'm like, okay, what's that going to do for you? Well, okay, cool. And so you've got it now, or they've said it now, or something has occurred now. What's it look like? What's it feel like?
Kind of pokey. Not gonna lie.
But that's where that fierceness, so me being fierce about meeting everything and everyone where they are. And yes, I've been playing with it, and in every circumstance, situation imaginable, not just with multiples of me, but you know, all over for years and years and years. And some has been piece of cake, some has been incredibly hard, and but I meet me. So in thinking about that, wherever I was, so it doesn't matter. It's not, none is not higher than, less than, better than, because it's all in my world. It's all me. It's how I encounter. It's how I, and that's what this is about. So if part of something has occurred and it's pulling you back, doesn't exist, but giving you the perception of pulling you back to something, and you notice it, that there is a backness, because there's, you're like, well, wait a minute, right? Talk about a huge gift. What did you just do? In you, forget everybody else, everything else. In you, wait a minute. I've shifted from because I can now say this is back to something. So I'm giving a gift to me of saying, wow, I've had expansion. Wow, I've moved forward. Wow, I've widened my aperture. The gift is me saying, well, I can recognize this is back here. So again, I can see how far I've expanded, widened, however you want to, aperture, right? I can notice it in the moment. I can appreciate and meet this where it is, right? So there are gifts popping all over the place. If you choose, that's what I say, that's the first tool you employ. Because then it sets the table for all sorts of magic to happen. And this can be with something that you really want to have, be, or do. Some situation, some person, some job, what doesn't matter, it does not matter at all what it is. If you have those components that are the same, because wherever you go, there you are. So you're involved in any and all of them, right?
Right.
It's the way through, and Sheila said a couple of conversations ago, well, I'm not sure if I'm quite as ecstatic as you are yet about the, yay, Pokey's come to, play with me. But
yeah, no, you're right.
and I mean, I can be really like, I don't like you. I mean, I would, if I was in that narrow aperture, I could really not like you, like just crush you to dust, not like you can. But when I see these, because I've had so many of these pokey things and all other kind of, shapes, and I'll leave it at that, that I see it come up, that doesn't mean that it's any less upsetting or annoying or bedeviling, or think of every other things you can, but I can really appreciate it. And then I go through it, and I can be annoyed and bedeviled and blah, 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 blah. But all couched in, all with, it's in the arena. It's a play. This is a playground or a theater, or however you want to hold it, where this is happening, and where is it going? And there are sometimes when, this might be a lower mind ego thing. It might be, a habit. Maybe it's a body habit. Maybe it's a distortion within my body, right? Because it was a muscle thing, or I compensated for overdoing something or hurting something or whatever. Maybe I didn't have the money or the time or the this or that, to go get it looked at, or whatever, right? And so I had compensation, and then, and if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, compensation. So if you have let's say you hurt your foot, so you kind of walk a little different to kind of baby your foot. Well, that means you're kind of maybe leaning a little this way. So that's compensation, right?
Yeah.
So when you do that, then you have compensation. Well, now you do it for enough time, and you got compensation on your compensation. So this is like, accrual compensation, and all, right? And
well, that's really what we got going on.
Yeah, it is. It is. And to me, it's all about, it's a personal unbinding and unwinding. Because what I'm noticing is there really, there isn't anybody else here irritating me. It's all me.
Right. Damn, I can irritate the shit out of myself. I don't need anybody else.
I'm telling you, right?
I'm really good.
The more that I love and accept me, myself, and I, right where I am, and stop resisting my own self.
Yes.
Everybody else is a piece of cake. I literally can't get upset behind others. And it's that fierce dedication though to loving self, loving those, you know, moments where you think you're not lovable.
Yeah.
Well, that's, you know, that's so true. And that really plays into the conversation that you and I are going to have, Lisa, as far as I'm concerned, in regards to, because once it feels to me, my observation so far is that as each one of each singular portion of the whole, which is what we are, steps up into for effing real and is fiercely all that they are without attachment to anybody else being a carbon copy, because that's what the biggest problem is. It frees everybody else to be able to do the same. And it's like an inspiration to do so. And I mean, because that's been my experience as I'm, you know, hanging out with the two of yous, you know. It's just been, I don't know.
Well, you're calling to mind something. It's like when you are attached to something going in a very specific manner, you stop it from happening.
Yeah, absolutely. But in spades, you stop it from happening. Like with a cherry on top, you stop it from happening.
Now it's impossible. You can't have it. The minute you release it and could care less, the minute you just don't need it or you just don't care, it's yours.
That's a frequential thing. I saw that. You helped me with that, Lisa. You helped me see that. The frequency with which I was approaching something. Now, I'm not going to say I've stepped up into the proper frequency for what it is or whatever, but being able to see, because what is the frequency of need as opposed to
not at all attractive,
desire,
not at all attractive or magnetically. It's a repelling magnet. That's what it is.
Exactly. And I for the longest time I didn't grok that. And it's really only been in the last week that I think I'm hoping that I'm really there and not just an intellectual exercise with this one, but at least I'm in the zone of sneaking up on it.
Well, you're doing something because Rose has come down to play.
Oh, awesome. Does Rose have another game for us?
I'm not certain, but she was up there playing up a storm, and usually she just hangs and listens, you know. So it's interesting. She's been up there, I mean, going nuts playing with something. I couldn't see what it was.
Well,
you got something for us? We got
running so fast and furious. I'm gonna have to get a different sweater because I'm freezing at the moment.
There's something for us to do. She says, well, you've hit on something big in this last part there.
Hanging out and enjoying the glow.
Well, all I can say is the magic that I've witnessed just in the last week in regards to this topic in general is just huge. It has been huge for me on many levels, and it involves all sorts of levels as well.
Yes.
Recognition of attachment to a thing is huge.
Yeah.
And I have no idea how to, because I know I've already heard, well, how do you recognize attachment to something? Well,
you start by what we're talking about, which is meet everything and everyone where they are.
Yeah.
Because that will help reveal the attachment.
Yeah.
Well,
You
like
say,
I said,
well, but I can't because they do X, Y, or Z. Okay, well, why? What is that? The same thing is this. The conversation that.
Well, so that's an attachment.
right.
Your attachment to the way they must behave in a certain way, or you cannot be at peace within yourself.
Right.
So that's
Exactly.
a huge attachment.
So this meeting everything and everyone where they are will help you suss out a whole bunch of stuff. It as an energetic is incredibly valuable tool and frequential neighborhood to play in, because it will let go of distortions. It will magnetize things to you. It will widen your aperture. It will expand your consciousness. It will absolutely, bring the buoyancy of your universal love quotient in the river of love just up and up and up and up and up, way over the charts. What's the scoop here, man? Yeah, I know. I realize this is it. I hear you hogging.
I missed you, Rose. Maybe that's
Yeah.
Yeah, she says, I haven't gotten a reading lately, lady. What's the scoop with that?
I know, right? That's what I think. That might be what it is. Maybe Rose needs another reading. That could be.
So this is something that will work to. You're losing your fur. It's in my mouth. Will work to shift things in big ways. And since things are moving really fast, anything that we have that we can, because you can do it anywhere and anything. You can just use this as a touchstone reminder. This is an everything or an everyone, and that takes care of every possible scenario, right? And meet it where it is.
Yes.
So it lets that in itself will help you. You may want to pick it back up again, and then you can, not follow through with that urge. But it actually releases any attachments right then. If you're simply meeting it, just like you're simply noticing it. You're not observing it. You're not categorizing. You're not, in the noticing part. And the meeting, you're just meeting it. You're just, being subject to one another.
Yeah.
They don't need to be better or worse, higher or lower, this or that. Or they don't need to be anything but what and who they are.
Yeah.
And someone just said, but what if I don't like that? Cool. That's cool. Then right in that moment, there's expansion, because you've been fierce about holding your energy that's in a way that's important for you. And if that's in, continually in an expansive way, great. And if that's continually in a constrictive way that's just in their focus, that's great. Because you, and I mean that absolutely genuinely, you're the expert for you.
Yep.
So only you can know that that's right for you. If you keep putting it on them, well, they made me feel, then you're not allowing yourself to be the expert for you.
Well, see, that's, for me, coming to really, truly grok the meet everything and everyone where they are, actually does require that I honor myself. If I've met something where it is, and it's not a frequency that I wish to inhabit, and I intend to honor myself and say, hey, good seeing you, and beat feet the other way.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm honoring myself.
And you're doing it in a way that does not diminish anyone and anything in any way.
That's right.
You're as fierce about honoring yourself as you are about honoring them, because you're meeting them where they are.
And in truth, and I will say this because I'm hearing it, okay, but they're my family. Okay, I get that. Believe you me, that happens.
Yeah.
And that, and the truth of that is that I really truly, that's the biggest thing for me, is that I no longer require anybody to agree with anything I have to say, think, or feel. It is not your job to agree with me, nor is it mine to agree with you. We can have a relationship without that. And if we can't, because of something, an attachment perhaps, that either one of us might have, okay, well, then that's something to be explored.
Yeah.
I personally have dropped the attachment to any kind of requiring that someone think and feel the same way I do.
If people, I'm going to throw this out there, if people would like, and if there's, if there's people out there who this would be of value to them, I would love to, we can have a play session, meaning, like some of the things that we've done, we're actually doing live and can play thing about this. So write in the comments, or however you want to do it, get in touch with us, let us know. Trumpet the horn, however you want to do it, and say, yeah, that would be interesting. So that we're doing specifically on that, we can play with that in a way that is fierce about you and them, and in a way that is huge expansion for everybody. And you don't have to calibrate how much expansion they got going on, because that's not your job, right? But I'd be happy to do that. But I do, because it is about that. I would like people to honor themselves. So step forward and say, this would be valuable to me. That will show you, not me, show you that you're honoring you. Because
Right.
clearly it's something that you're wrestling with. So if you do that, I, for one, would be happy to do it.
Well, that's cool. I'd love to hear what everybody has to say about that, feel about that. That would be awesome. It's not, like I said, for me, I had to come to realization that I had an attachment to folks. I don't know. And waking up seems to be the biggest one. Red pilling folks for me was a big deal. Like I said, if you only knew what I knew, you would feel completely different. And I didn't have that, I don't know. It just, I don't really quite grok why I didn't get that. There's obviously a reason. But of course, everybody gets to choose how they feel, what they think. And for me to say, well, you only get to hang out with me if you think like me. Well, oh, Jesus Christ, ain't that what we got going on right now?
Well, that's why I hold it as love pilling.
Well, I get that, but even at that, to be honest with you, at this point for me, it's not my job to love pill anybody either. I'm just going to fiercely be working on me, right up on her. If I can love her.
And you determine that that's just, I'm not going to go into this now because this is a part of the conversation that if someone.
I gotcha. Well, that's well, I don't know what to say about that. That's for me, I had to get to that point where I just kind of stopped being attached to everybody thinking and feeling the way I do.
Mm-hmm. It's a relief too.
Yes. Oh God, yes.
Is it ever?
Yes, it is a relief. And it frees.
People have surprised me in crazy ways.
Say what now, Lisa?
People have surprised me in crazy ways. Like things that I didn't think would happen actually did happen. Like a lot of that opposite thing. You let something go and boom, it's in your lap. I don't know. There's something about just, I don't know, being free to be you and me. That's all. That's all we have to do now. And I know it seems crazy simple. It's harder than you think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
hey, if any of you are curious, you write in and let us know and we'll play with it.
Yeah.
I would love that. Well, then it feels to me like this one is ready in the can. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add on this one?
Nope. For this time being, Pokey Beezy has left the planet.
Pokey BZ has left the planet. Okay. Yay for Pokey BZ.
Woo!
We love Pokey BZ anyway.
That's right.
Every way. So, well, all right then. Thank you, ladies, for another great conversation. And I'd like to invite everyone that is interested in BZ's idea to absolutely, in the comments, contact any one of us you feel led to contact. We'll kind of set that up, I also want to ask that if you have not already subscribed to Conscious Conversation Central, please do so. And if you're watching this on BZ's channel and you haven't subscribed over there, please do so. And if you're subscribed to BZ and not me at Conscious Conversation Central, please do that thing BZ just did. That helps everybody. And let's see what else. Oh, be sure to hit the notification bell because I've been going live an awful lot more often. So if you want to know when either one of us go live, actually make sure to hit that notification bell on both channels. That way you'll be notified when videos are uploaded or lives are happening.
I'll get live someday.
Yeah, you just never know. We might all three of us
Get alive.
do a live all at once. We've been threatening to.
All at once, we'll have a live.
Well,
Sorry. Oh, a little funny.
It may be uproarious, but hey, that's what happens when you're alive.
that's right. Oh, listen, you think
Cosmically deliciousness, just
yeah, let me just say, you think this is fun? Wait till we start doing stuff in person.
Oh my goodness.
That's when it's going to be real
come
fun.
on down.
All right, ladies, thank you so much, and we'll see everybody next time. Mwah.
Much love.